Hello, and thank you for joining me on 8. I am Maggie. Okay, so what are we doing here? We are doing a beautiful slow crawl through this book, Excuses Be Gone by Dr. Wayne Dyer. Why? Why are we doing this? Because it's a book on how to change lifelong self-defeating thinking habits. And if you even pick up one tool, it could change your life and the lives of all those around you. So, and the other thing is, we're the game changers, right? What do game changers do? They change the game and they move forward in a new direction and they uplift the world in that uplifting direction. So, we're going to pick up where we left off. We are currently in chapter 17, the sixth question: can I access universal cooperation in shedding my old habits? We're almost through with this book, so more to come. So the third cardinal virtue, gentleness. This virtue personifies one of my favorite and most frequently employed maxims. When you have the choice to be right or to be kind, always pick kind. So many of our old thinking habits and their attendant excuses come out with a need to make yourself right and others wrong. When you practice this third virtue, you eliminate conflicts that result in your need to explain why you're right. This virtue manifests as kindness, consideration for others, and sensitivity to spiritual truth. Gentleness generally implies that you no longer have a strong ego-inspired desire to dominate or control others, which allows you to move into a rhythm with the universe. Don't you love that? You know when you're moving in a rhythm with the universe because you can feel it. And like everything's going my way. You can feel it. Okay, so as a reality transurfing we call it, the wave of fortune, right? It's just, okay. So when you practice this third virtue, you eliminate conflicts that result in your need to explain why you're right. This virtue manifests in kindness, consideration for others, and sensitivity to spiritual truth. Gentleness generally implies that you no longer, okay, I know I'm repeating, but it's okay, that you no longer have a strong ego-centered desire to dominate or control others, which allows you to move into a rhythm with the universe. There it is. Whoop, there it is. You cooperate with it much like a surfer who rides with the waves instead of trying to overpower them. The wave of fortune. I recommend that you look very closely at your relationships and find out how much of your energy is directed towards dominating and controlling rather than accepting and allowing. Now, of course, he is not saying, we are part of the Common Sense Show. So if it is important for you in that moment to, step up in some way, because it's important for the safety of someone, you need to do so. But really start to look at your situations and just see, okay, am I dominating or controlling, or am I accepting and allowing? And then try to see where, like, you might start to realize, wow, I can actually move into accepting and allowing a lot more than I thought I could. And then things start to shift. So as you develop this virtue, the pronoun I ceases to be center of your communication. Instead of insisting, I've told you so many times, how to deal with these frustrating and rude people, you're more likely to say, you're really having a tough day. Is there anything I can do to help? So more open-ended questions. They teach you that in nursing school, but open-ended questions that actually lets the person go inside, dig deeper, because the truth is that we all have our answers. So even when you are helping someone, sometimes you just need to hold them in a place, listen, be the sounding board so that they can be able to figure it out. Of course, if you have wisdom and they can receive it, but if you look at a lot of the teachings, you look at Yogananda, you look at Jesus, you look at Buddha, a lot of times they didn't just spew all the knowledge. They waited till the student was really hungry and aware and at a certain place in their learning so that they could receive the message. Because if sometimes you're just spoon feeding people thinks they're going to reject it, or they're not going to see the importance of it. And so we got to find that balance. So open-ended questions. Beginning a sentence with I implies the need to control. Beginning a sentence with you, on the other hand, expresses kindness and consideration for the other person. The more kindness and sensitivity you extend to everyone in your life, the less likely you are to blame others for not living up to your expectations. Gentleness means accepting life and people as they are, rather than insisting that they be as you are. As you practice living this way, blame disappears and you enjoy a peaceful world. Not because the world has changed, because you have adopted this third cardinal virtue of gentleness. And you know, the other thing too is once the blame game starts, or it's not a game, it's not fun at all, honestly, but once the blame starts, you realize that all communication and ability to find solutions has shut down, because that person is now projecting things onto the other person, and then people are going to go for, and you know, like ultimately people are trying to protect themselves or whatever is underneath the blaming. You know, sometimes a person is having a really difficult time coming into acceptance about XYZ, or sometimes maybe they learned in their life that it's really bad to be in the, you know, to make a mistake. Like it's not okay to make a mistake. They don't see that falling a million times is actually a part of learning to walk. So they just see like, oh my gosh, I gotta deflect, I gotta project, I gotta blame. Once the blame starts, there's no communication. So this virtue of gentleness really is going to help us move into accepting and allowing. And then in that process, you get to skip the blame game and go to that connection and communication. Okay, the fourth cardinal virtue, supportiveness. This virtue manifests in your life as service to others without any expectation or reward. Once again, when you extend yourself in a spirit of giving, helping, or loving, you act as God acts. As you consider the many excuses that have dominated your life, look carefully at them, and you'll see that they're all focused on the ego. I can't do this, I'm too busy, too scared, I'm unworthy, no one will help me, I'm too old, I'm too tired. It's all me, me, me. Now imagine shifting your attention off yourself and asking the universal mind, how may I serve? When you do so, the message you're sending is, I am not thinking about myself and what I can or can't have. Your attention is on making someone else feel better, right? And we want to, that's part of our journey too. Is like, of course, you have to give from a full cup and take care of yourself. Self-care is so important. But we are moving into service to others as we are ascending in our work with the Creator, right? We are not just about me, 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 give me, give me, give me, because then it's going to be taken, taken, taken. We're moving to these places where we are like the Mother Earth, and everything that she puts forth in this divine earth, giving from us, and then giving to us, and then we receive. But we also need to give back to her, and we see what happens when we don't do right, you know? Okay, so anytime you're supportive of others, you automatically remove ego from the picture. And with no ego, you go from edging God out to being more like God. When you think and act this way, the need for excuses evaporates. Practice giving and serving without expectation or of reward or even a thank you. Let your reward be spiritual fulfillment. So, you know, a lot of times you just do your act. So we're doing the momentum challenge too at the same time, the Brian Scott momentum challenge. And I'm challenging you to different things like doing a good deed, or now healing the sick, or acts of faith, or praying for a sick person. Today we're going to be doing another video, and I didn't want to overlook this because it's really going to highlight my friend Lisa from Reality Revolution. But anyway, when we are, we don't need the expectation or the reward or the thank yous. It's so nice when somebody does give you that gratitude, but we are giving to the Creator, and so we know that everything that we give out is going to come back to us a millionfold, and we are just going to give from that pure heart. So let your reward be spiritual fulfillment. This is what Khalil Gibran, I love him, meant when he wrote in the Prophet, there are those who give with joy, and that joy is their reward. I'm going to read that again. So, sorry, I'm saying it not so great, but Khalil Gibran, he wrote the Prophet, and I love that book. There are those who give with joy, and that joy is their reward, and that is you. And joy is a big part of the momentum challenge we're doing, because our hearts are open, we're in coherence with our mind, and we're giving from a full heart, and we're giving from a joyful place. And we know that that's going to create a magnetic energy, an electric energy that's going to cause others to take notice and do the same, or take notice and shift them into a high vibrational state. Okay, oh my gosh. The greatest joy comes from giving and serving. So replace your habit of focusing exclusively on yourself and what's in it for me. When you make the shift to supporting others in your life without expecting anything in return, you'll think less about what you want and find comfort and joy in the act of giving and serving. And so it's so simple. No focus on yourself equals no excuses. There was also a story, and this is a story I heard a long time ago, but there was this psychiatrist who had helped a lot of people, and he said the cure for suicide or depression or any of these lower states, so where he lived, obviously there was a train track, but he would say when you feel like in those places, depression, anxiety, he said, get yourself up out of your house and walk across the train tracks and go find somebody who is in a lower state than you and do something for them. Do something to help them. Now, of course, guys, safety is important. Know where you're walking across the tracks. But I'm just saying, think about that. The tracks can be anything. Walk across the street, drive down the street somewhere, find somebody in a state lower than you and help them. And he said, boom, there's your cure for suicide, anxiety, depression. And when you really think about it, when we sort of convert our energy and shift, and we begin moving in the direction of taking action, positive action, and also when we're service to others, you know the other crap's going to go out the door. So that's where we want it. You're out the door, babe. There's the fish in the sea, and I'm going to be doing service. Okay, I'm tripping out here a little bit because I think we finished the book. Oh, no, wait. Okay, no, we're not. Okay, look. Ooh, okay. So the 4th cardinal virtues are a roadmap to the simple truth of the universe. Remember that what Lao Tzu offered you 500 years before the birth of Christ, Jesus Christ. These 4 virtues are not an external dogma, but a part of your original nature. So we're all in the state of remembering, right? And sometimes when we are acting out in ways that are connected to higher order values, and we're not connected to the God source, we may be acting in ways, and that's not your original nature. Your original nature is love. Your original nature is mercy. Your original nature is compassion when you are connected to our God, our Creator, this universe. Everything in the universe is reaching out to help us, and we need to take, this 4th virtue It's not a dogma. It's a part of our natural being to be supportive and loving. To revere all of life, to live with natural sincerity, to practice gentleness, and to be into service to others is to replicate the energy field from which you originated. Starting on the following page, I'm going to take you back through the list of 18 excuses categories to see how they evaporate. It's like Dr. Wayne Dyer magic, right? If you live the four virtues and consequently access universal cooperation. So I'm going to be covering that in the next video. I don't know, this reading is just so honestly gentle itself. I can feel it. I can feel the joy. I can feel the gentleness. I can feel the support. I can feel the excuses begoning. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. When you do get a chance, please hit that like button and subscribe and leave your positive comments. I really do, you know, one of the virtues, right? The fourth virtue we just covered is supportiveness. And I want to let you know that I really appreciate your support on my channel. And I really appreciate your support and well wishes and all that I'm doing. And I want you to know that I send the same back to you. So, with that in mind, you know what's next. Peace in, peace